Mr. Marby had always been a kind-hearted man. All his life he was generous to all people, especially to his granddaughter Judy. So, when he became ill, he was deeply disappointed to find out she did not want to take care of him. Unfortunately, she was the only relative left in his life. Judy's childhood was not carefree. Her parents died in a car accident when she was only 6 years old, and her grandfather took care of her. Mr. Marby did his best to make sure she didn't need anything. But as Judy grew into adulthood, she became increasingly withdrawn and taciturn. Her grandfather wanted her to consult a psychologist, but Judy was against it. When she turned 18, she left her grandfather's house. Mr. Marby often called her, trying to visit her, but Judy repeatedly ignored his calls or answered briefly. She did not want to admit to him how unhappy she was, and she pushed him away, just as he had pushed away everyone else in her life. Now Mr. Marby rarely saw her. Judy used to come only when she required money. The elderly man knew this was bad, but he kept telling himself that she was spending the money on good things, and so he kept giving it to her. He missed her so much, and in those brief moments when he saw her, he wanted to make sure that she was okay. Now Mr. Marby rarely saw her. Judy used to come only when she required money. The elderly man knew this was bad, but he kept telling himself that she was spending the money on good things, and so he kept giving it to her. He missed her so much, and in those brief moments when he saw her, he wanted to make sure she was okay. But one day, everything changed, and now Grandpa was needing Judy's help. Judy got a call from the hospital and was asked to come. When she arrived, she was shocked to see how much her grandfather had aged since their last meeting, and how frail he had become. The doctors told Judy that the elderly man needed help and care, and that it would be better for him to move in with her. Judy was not ready to take on the responsibility of caring for her grandfather, and refused to accept him. She had made many bad decisions over the past couple of years, which had led to the accumulation of a lot of debt. She had to deal with that problem, and her grandfather was not a part of her plans. In addition, she was sure that he had savings to pay for a nurse. So, Judy, absorbed in her own problems, completely forgot about her sick grandfather, and she heard about his death from the lawyer, who would like to meet with her as soon as possible. Of course the girl was shocked and sad for a while, but then she remembered that her grandfather had no more relatives, and hoped that he had left all his money to her. It would have helped her a lot with her debts. Sitting in the lawyer's office, Judy nervously waited for him to read the will. However, a big surprise awaited her. According to the will, your grandfather left you all his property, including the house, savings, and all personal belongings, the lawyer said. Judy's eyes widened wide with joyful anticipation. However, the lawyer continued, there is one catch. Your grandfather specified in his will that you must live in his house for 1 year and take care of it as if it were your own. If you fail to do this, the entire estate will be donated to charity. I understand that this may be difficult for you to fulfill this requirement, but your grandfather was a wise man, and he thought it would be the best way for you to learn some lessons. He wanted you to understand the value of caring for others and to appreciate the home he built and loved for so many years. Also, Mr. Marby asked me to give this letter to you. Judy expected the letter to be full of kind words and love she was used to hearing from her grandfather, but when she opened it, she had to gasp for air with resentment and anger. From the first words in the letter, She understood that getting inherited money was not going to be easy. "My dear Judy, I believe that you are an intelligent young woman and your heart is still kind. But I also know that you always take the easy way out when it comes to achieving your goals. It saddens me that you only ever came to me when you needed my money, and that you abandoned me when I really needed your help. So I have decided that you will not get the inheritance without any effort. I have prepared several conditions that are designed to test your character, your determination, and your willingness to work hard to achieve what you want. I have no doubt that you will accept the challenge, and I know for a fact that you will be a better person afterward. Good luck, my dear granddaughter. I love you no matter what." The first task her grandfather gave her was to volunteer for the next 3 months. For several days, Judy was gaining courage because she was determined to get her grandfather's inheritance. She began her first day at the charity centre feeling depressed and out of place. She wasn't used to helping others without expecting something in return, and it was hard for her. But as the days went by, she began to see the value of what she was doing. She sorted donations, cooked meals, and even helped with small repairs at the centre. She saw the joy on the faces of the people she helped, and little by little, Judy began to understand the true meaning of unselfishness. She made new friends there and learned a lot about the hardships that many people face. It was a valuable experience, as she had never imagined it would be. Judy became more patient and understanding and began to see the world differently. She realized that her grandfather had always been right. The key to happiness was not accumulating wealth, but helping others. She was grateful for that experience and knew it would stay with her for the rest of her life. The next task her grandfather set her was to find a job. But she could only look for work in companies approved by her grandfather. He knew that these companies would be good for her personal growth. Judy was not used to being told where she could or could not work, but she was determined to get her inheritance. She spent hours researching the companies on the list and began submitting resumes. Along the way, she encountered many rejections, but she didn't give up and eventually got a job with one of the companies on the list. The job was difficult for her at first, but the girl quickly established herself as a hard-working and valuable member of the team. As the weeks were passing, Judy's confidence was growing. She made friends, she gained motivation, and she was finally able to gradually get out of debt. Meanwhile, she moved into her grandfather's house and began to take care of it as if it were her own. The house reminded her about her childhood and how well her grandfather had treated her all her life, and she was very ashamed of her terrible behavior, and she was sorry that it was too late to change anything because her grandfather was gone. And so a year passed. Judy sat in a lawyer's office and reflected on the past year. She realized that her grandfather's tasks had changed her life for the better. Suddenly the woman, immersed in her thoughts, noticed that someone approached her. When she looked up, it was as if she saw a ghost. She went pale and jumped up from her chair. In front of her was her grandfather. "I'm so sorry I had to lie to you, my dear," he said, "but I'm so proud of you. You are so good." Judy was speechless, tears streaming down her face. She could not believe what she had seen and heard, but when she looked into her grandfather's eyes, she realized that it was really him. It turned out that he had faked his own death to teach her a few lessons. Judy was overwhelmed with emotions, shock, disbelief, relief, and joy. She wanted to hug him and never let him go, but at the same time, she was angry with him for lying to her and causing her so much pain. "Why did you do it?" was the only thing Judy could ask. "I wanted to show you how big and kind your heart really was. I wanted to show you that there are more important things in life than money and possessions. I wanted to help you grow up and become the strong, independent woman I know you could be. And I'm so proud of how far you've come." Judy realized that Grandpa's plan had worked, and she had learned so much over the past year. She had grown as a person and was ready to conquer the world. She looked at him with a new sense of gratitude and admiration. "Thank you, Grandpa," she said, her voice full of emotion. "Thank you for everything. I love you, and I'm so grateful to have you in my life. And I'm sorry I've been so heartless. I'll fix it." Mr. Marby smiled back. "I love you too, my dear, and I will always be with you, guiding and supporting you." As they walked out of the lawyer's office, Judy felt relieved and indescribably happy. She was ready to face the future with confidence and determination, and knew that she would always carry her grandfather's lessons with her. Judy was grateful for this journey and knew that it had made her a better person